everyone, welcome back to Lawson Music. The song I was just playing was one of the songs off of this album, You Must Believe in Spring. The title of that song was called The Peacocks. Very kind of moody, ambiguous song. Very fun to play on the piano with some interesting chords. This is an album from the legendary jazz pianist Bill Evans. Bill Evans is considered one of the most important pianists in jazz. He really got, well, not his start, but he's most well known for his contributions to the Miles Davis album Kinda Blue. He's known for his kind of soft, intimate playing style with his interesting developments and techniques with harmony. He does some really interesting things throughout his playing with harmony, and he's really known for his melodic playing with his right hand. And he's really kind of become a school of himself. A lot of piano players really are influenced by him, and he's one of the most influential. And this is an album that came out right near his death, his untimely death near 1980. He died when he was only about 50 years old. Like a lot of other jazz musicians and musicians in general, he dealt with and struggled with drug addiction, particularly heroin, like many other jazz musicians, unfortunately. But he's really at the top of his game here. This is a very somber but beautiful album. A lot of the themes from this album are evident even from the title tracks, and a lot of the themes are things like suicide, which is something that Evans dealt with a lot in his life. He lost his first wife to suicide in addition to his brother later in life, Harry Evans. As far as personnel goes, this is one of his later trios. It's Bill himself on piano. The bassist is his longest contributing bassist, Eddie Gomez, and the drummer is Elliot Zygmunt. This album opens with a song called B Minor Waltz, and it starts off, and you can immediately tell that the production is extremely pristine and clean for an album that came out as long ago as it did. It's a surprising aspect that is throughout this entire album. It's surprising to find how well the production is, how clean the piano is, and how equalized the different pitches of the piano are, like the low notes versus the high notes. Everything comes out really well. The drums are very, very crystal clear, and everything's mixed very well. This is a very well mixed album. But this song itself, what if I got room for it? Yes, it is, as much as it's beautiful, it's a very serious song. It's very, it sets the mood immediately. This is going to be an introspective album. It's going to be very, very somber. And a lot of people are critical of Eddie Gomez's bass tone that he uses. I like it for the most part. I can see how some people think it's a little bit too plucky, but I think it really works, and it really complements his playing style, especially how he likes to solo, which is kind of this very active staccato type playing with some very plucky notes. I also love Elliot Zygmunt's brushwork and all of his drum work throughout this album, and it really is a standout on this title track, and it's a very solid opening. So the next song is the title track, You Must Believe in Spring. Just immediately the chords are gripping and musically interesting. The opening piano chords from Bill are very, very emotionally gripping, and it just sounds really somber again. It just sounds like there's a lament happening. But every once in a while you also kind of hear, especially as Bill explores the melody further up into his right hand, it is kind of a hopeful sounding song too. And really, the first part of the song is just Bill playing, and he plays the melody, he plays the head, and he states it just very, very well. His dynamics are excellent, he's very melodic, but he's also taking his time. He's also playing with a lot of rubato. He's really just feeling this song out, and really, I think that he expresses the emotions in the song as well as anyone could. And then there's kind of this this railroad tracks where the song almost completely stops, and then Gomez comes in with a bass solo, and it's a fantastic solo. He states the melody, he states the head, Bill's in the background comping just perfectly, giving Gomez the floor, and he kind of goes into his typical soloing style where he's playing really, really quickly, and like he's attacking his bass, but it's also very thoughtful and melodic, and I would even say inventive too. And once again, Elliot Zygmunt's drumming is just really, really good. With a trio that's already as compact and tight as this one is, his drumming really helps just kind of accent everything and also kind of guide the other musicians into the other areas of the song. And then after Gomez plays for a while, he finishes his solo, and Bill goes into his solo, and he sounds a little bit more hopeful. I don't know if he's kind of tuning into like the hopeful aspect of this melody, but in the first track, the B minor waltz before this one, he sounded a lot more restrained. But his solo is just almost kind of fun here. It's a little happy, and even though this tune is still melancholy and kind of moody, you definitely hear him sounding like he's having fun with this song. So then it moves into the next track, We Will Meet Again. And the opening to this sound is kind of like the ending of the last one, where it sounds a little bit more energized. This song feels very nostalgic, and it's not quite as serious as the past two. The first two songs are very, very serious, and the mood is definitely grim. And as moody as this song still is, you can still kind of hear the trio having fun with it, and it's a nice break from the first two. And now it moves into a song called The Peacocks, which is not an original of Bill Evans, but he plays it so well that he makes it sound like his song. And as you heard from the very beginning when I was attempting to play it, doing my interpretation of it, it's a very, very moody song. But it's not moody in the same sense as the first two. Whereas the first two songs, B minor waltz and You Must Believe in Spring, are just absolutely almost hopeless sounding. This song is a lot more eerie, a lot more ambiguous. It makes me think of the Pink Panther, it makes me think of like a spy movie, that type of thing. But it's also very beautiful, and I love the kind of cascading part of the melody in the right hand that comes down. And it's also kind of got some bluesy touches to it as well, and the bridge on this song has always fascinated me. I haven't quite learned the bridge myself, but I don't know what it is, if it's the specific chord progression or just the way that Bill kind of uses like these inner harmonies. But it's a really, really cool song, and I'll keep talking about the drumming, but really this is the standout track, I think, for Elliot Zygmunt's drumming, because, the song is called The Peacocks, and he uses his brushes for this excellent work, just kind of like in the background, just like it really is kind of stirring, and you can really imagine like birds or peacocks or something. Like the drums, the brushes sound like they're fluttering. It's just really, really cool, and it gives a whole lot of atmosphere to this track. So that was really the first half of the album. Now the second to last song is called Some Time Ago, and this song also feels very nostalgic. It just kind of feels like a classic jazz standard, and it sounds like the trio's having fun with this one. This one's also very beautiful. I like the chords on it, but it's a nice break from the more serious sounding songs on this album. You can really feel the trio getting into it with this one. Not that they haven't been tight and listening to each other on the other songs, but I think they're really having fun with this one, and Eddie Gomez really goes off on his solo. So this song definitely ends giving the album a little bit more of a hopeful feeling. Now, the final track is called Suicide is Painless, and it's actually the main theme song from the TV show and movie MASH. It's a very, very iconic song. It's pretty catchy melody. You've probably heard it before. And I really like how the interpretation of this song, because it's almost like a bossa nova. Like, it comes in, and even though the subject matter and the idea of the song is very, very much not happy, it's definitely a sad song, just the way the bossa nova drums just kind of groove and everything, it sounds like they're having fun with this one. And I guess it's bittersweet is the right word to call it, because you know that this song is about suicide and feeling numb, and listening that Bill Evans had experienced that firsthand in his life. But either way, it's a very interesting song to hear on a jazz album. I think it works, but it definitely doesn't structurally or really in any other ways, I think, fit with what you think of as a classic jazz standard. And I think other people have begun to play it, but I think it's still kind of, in the jazz world, kind of signature to Bill Evans to play this song in a jazz trio setting. And it's a good finish to the album. So overall, this album is very beautiful. The production on it is excellent. The drumming and the bass playing, along with Bill's amazing piano playing, is all integrated very, very well. The production continues to astound me every time I listen to it. These songs, as beautiful as they are, they're dark and they're lamenting. And it's a shame that Bill died as young as he did. He's one of my favorite pianists of all time. He's influenced my playing a lot, and I'll continue to get a lot of enjoyment out of his albums. I think he was one of the most brilliant minds of the 20th century, not just with jazz, but for music in general, with harmony and everything. I think I probably have to give this album a 9. It's pretty solid. All right, thanks for the view.